So here we are at Middle East Organic and Natural Products Expo 2020, and we are going to experience what they are displaying and what's the latest demand and everything. So let's explore it. So we are here at Organic Expo 2020.
بس إذا حاب أي شيء ممكن نطرش لك مثلا أي شيء من اللي أنت تبغاه نقدر نطرش لك إياه فيه. وحتى من الأيتمز.
اخذ رقمك وابعث لك الصور منك. رقمي عندك. بقول لك بعد سنه اليوم يعني سنه اليوم
And I will allow Mr. Mohammed Azmath, who is from Dortmund, to introduce himself and then
Technology, yeah, for the technology. Thank you, yes, please. You can just open your ear earlier. But you can directly contact, get in touch with Sir Danish, our business development manager. Hi, I'm sorry, good afternoon.
No problem, no problem. Everyone is important.
Yeah.
So this is grown in
UAE.
UAE, yeah?
Yes, in Dubai, Al Quds 3.
In desert.
Al Quds 3 here.
Yeah.
Here. Inside the warehouse. Like this.
Like this.
Like this.
This is more
So you
nutritious.
can put in the tea, coffee.
How much quantity should be in this?
So in a cup of tea, you put a small like this. So in this,
just pick one.
it's enough.
Chia seeds, organic, and organic honey. Take the food from the fields of chia seeds.
Yeah.
Africa. This is the field.
I heard this.
so it is basically to bring more insights about the organic and natural industry. And today's topic is e-commerce.
Changed dynamically all over the world. Especially our business have shot up through the roof, and we were finding it difficult to manage the kind of orders we were getting. So we are exclusively on the online side.
And the range of in terms of clean beauty compared to the rest of the world was pretty much non-existent.
over here. So that's how I started MissPalatable.com, because I saw myself constantly, purchasing online from outside of the UAE, and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous that I have to do this, and there should be a platform within the UAE as well that caters specifically to this niche, and that's how I came about MissPalatable.com. In terms of pre-COVID, it's been a bit of a learning curve in the sense that the awareness when it comes down to clean beauty, what's ingredient lists, and what's cruelty free, what's not cruelty free was pretty low. But I do feel like the biggest change that's happened this year is awareness. So I guess because of the lockdown, people started looking up more about skincare. Became huge. I mean, you've got so many memes going on about COVID, what do you need? Sweatpants and skincare. So we did pretty well during the COVID period, and just a lot more awareness came around because of that, I would say globally, in the industry overall. And so COVID did benefit us in that way, because we did definitely see us increase in sales. And now post-COVID, a lot of what we're doing now is focusing a lot more on community building, because at the end of the day, in e-commerce, you're not physical, you're online. So the human connection isn't really there. For example, if you're a retail store, you go in, you speak to salespersons, and you see the products. We don't really have that in e-commerce. But on the flip side of that is you have more control on who you are as a brand, what your vision is. So if someone goes on your website, they read your About Us, they know exactly what you're about. So that's the plus point. So I'm not dependent on someone else telling my customers who we are, because it's right there on the website. And so that's, in terms of e-commerce, I believe it's a lot more easier now to set it up in the UAE, in terms of, their setting up the business in free zones and all of that. And so now post-COVID, I do think that customers now are a lot more used to buying online. I think before COVID, there was for me personally, I noticed a lot more cash on delivery. Deliveries occurring, but now I see more credit card deliveries occurring. So there's a bit more of a comfort level in terms of online shopping, which maybe previously there wasn't. So that's a positive.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Sami, coming to you, you have a very unique insight into the industry because you've worked on both sides. Conventional retail with companies like Majid Al Futtaim, and now you're working with an e-commerce platform. What do you feel is the difference when it comes to the Middle East shoppers towards their attitude towards e-commerce? Is it better than retail? Is it something that needs to build up further? Or has COVID really changed the way people look at e-commerce?
Well, one of the things, good afternoon everybody. It's a privilege to be here. My name is Samer. I'm founder of Deliver to Mom, which is a website that caters to mothers with babies between the ages of 0 to 3 years old. We deliver a wide range of baby products, so allowing mothers and fathers to spend more time with their babies and quality time. Back to your question, sorry, the difference between retail in the Middle East, and specifically in Dubai, it's been entertainment offering, in the sense that people go out to the malls not just to get their daily essentials, but to spend time to socialize and therefore entertain themselves and entertain their families. And obviously, with COVID, that disappeared outright. E-commerce took up the slack, and it was an opportunity for e-commerce companies to show how easy it was and convenient the online shopping experience was. Now, you can't touch and feel, but when we're talking about everyday products that you have dealt with before, and they're your grocery items and essentials that you've gotten so many times, it's not a big deal. The one thing that would be difficult is for new brands, because obviously they haven't had the chance to be sampled, to be tried out, etc. So for those, the e-commerce is a way to learn and to try, but to really get it out there, it needs the traditional retail experience of sampling, trying, and feeling and touching. Now, people in the e-commerce industry in the Middle East is still nascent, and therefore there is a tremendous opportunity for growth, especially within the natural organic sector. That's been growing tremendously well, as has e-commerce in general been growing as people have become more comfortable with it. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely, thank you so much.
See, COVID has changed everything, the entire dynamics in the entire industry, whether it is organic or non-organic, doesn't matter. It has changed the entire era, the way of doing business. But the main change is more and more companies are now looking at investing, putting their money in a concept which is good for people to consume, because people are getting more aware of what they are taking in. Food is the medicine. That is the realization most of the people are now getting, and they are now looking at options where I can get the products without any chemicals added onto it, without any pesticides added onto it, without any growth hormones, without any preservatives added onto it which will stay in the same shape for 2 months. These are some of the options customers are very carefully trying to avoid, because earlier what used to happen was that people were looking at price. It's a price sensitive market. They're looking at the lowest price as possible in order to get an option. But when COVID hits, when people are more getting aware of the products, of the health as such, and the food that they're consuming in, they're taking the product, turning it back, looking into the label, they're trying to read through it, what exactly are the names which they cannot identify with. Those are the chemicals, those are the preservatives. They try to keep it away. What happens is major brands, the companies which is changing the whole dynamics of the world, they are now looking at introducing products which are certified organic. They are now pushing the farmers, they are now pushing the industrial, whether it is in the dairy industry or agriculture industry, they are pushing the farmers, they are trying to motivate the farmers to come up with options which are not having any of these bad elements within the food. So, online is one area where you can give a lot of these options. For example, you're going to a small store. It's a physical store where you can have limitation on the number of products that you can display over there. You go to an online store, you've got 5,000 products over there. You can check different 5 to 50 different brands over there. All the SKU variants available, sizes, colors, packings, everything is. This is something which is now explored by the customers in a very big way. They would love to do it. For example, they want to get a vegan meat alternative. Options are available in 250 grams, 500 grams, 750 grams. It is not available in the physical store. They will be able to go to an online store, they can order onto it and they can get it on their doorstep the next day. Things have changed dynamically. So products, quality of the products, the way of purchase, the way the consumers are consuming the food, everything has changed. One more factor which I wanted to tell you is that Samar has clearly mentioned about the touch and feel aspect. All of us as consumers, we want to go and touch and feel the product and we want to know what exactly that we are consuming. But in online, what we are trying to do is we are trying to utilize micro influencers. We send out the products to them. These people, they are not celebrities. They are not people who are paid to do it. They're passionate people. They do a fantastic job of opening the products, touch, make it looks like you are consuming it. They give the explanation. The consumers are really flocking in order to see such kind of products, and immediately you can see a spike in the consumption of such kind of brands. So online is going to stay, period.
Right, I would like to continue this point with Mukta as well. We were having a conversation just earlier where you mentioned a very interesting point in terms of how we used to promote e-commerce platforms pre-COVID, and now what are the challenges that we face. Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So pre-COVID, so we sell beauty products, and when it comes down to beauty products, everyone likes to test out skincare, feel how the cream feels, or cosmetics as well, to make sure what the color's like and all of that. So pre-COVID, we used to do a lot of pop-up events with like-minded businesses, or we used to collaborate or be part of markets and things like that. Well, one other thing that we do in our business is that whenever someone purchases from us, we always put in samples of other products. So if, for example, if a customer buys brand A, we put brand C and D inside, samples of C and D for them to test. And every single box that goes out of our out for deliveries always has samples in it. So that's another way that where we try and get customers to test and try the products. And what happens with that is if they like what they've tried with the samples, they come back and they buy the full size. Another thing that we just recently introduced on our website is a loyalty program. So when you sign up for an account, for example, you get 50, we call them butterfly points. So you get points, and as you purchase, you get reward points. If you refer a friend, you get more points, and you can use that points for discounts on the website. So that's another way we engage with our customers. We kind of try and push customer loyalty towards it. And since we are a niche website and our customers are specifically looking for beauty products that are non-toxic, cruelty-free, and clean, this works out well for us. And at the same time, within our social media, we're extremely engaged. We've somewhat built a form of community even via the pop-ups. We've got few ambassadors as well who are influencers but have really believe in what we do and the values that we bring on as Miss Palatable, that they've somewhat become ambassadors for us and are constantly promoting us, not because we've given them free products, but because they genuinely use them. And what happens with that is the community gets, that's how we increase our brand awareness and we get more customers coming in. We also have a chat bot on our website, which so while customers are surfing online and they have questions about a skincare brand or, what could I use for if I have oily skin, for example, they could click on the chatbot and we would talk to them live. So that also helps us in not having a salesperson. And one of the other ways that we do is we're engaging our customers while they're surfing online is that we've now created categories on our website based on skin type. So if you have dry skin and you click on that page, all the products that work for dry skin would be on that page. So we're constantly just trying to make the online experience just easier and easier and fuss-free.
All right, great. Thank you so much. I'd like to continue with Samar with this as well. So Mukta mentioned especially that instead of hiring a salesperson or a sales team, you can basically be the one handling things by your side, either by pre-recorded responses or something that you were able to manage with a relatively smaller team compared to what you do in conventional retail. How being in both the industries, as retail and e-commerce, how easy or different is it setting up an e-commerce business compared to setting up a conventional shop where expenses, workforce, inventories, all these kinds of things come into factor?
I mean, it's the same. It's a business at the end of the day, and everything has expenses, and it's where you spend it. Now, the advantage of e-commerce is that there's marketplaces where you're allowed to test in a way by having your products listed there and seeing what the consumer uptake is. That is a very inexpensive way of testing out new products, etc., having it. Obviously from the bricks and mortals business, you can't do that, or it would be very, very expensive to try out something like that. So on the cost value cost wise for e-commerce. The other advantage that you have on an e-commerce perspective is that it opens up other opportunities, because the World Wide Web is not bound by boundaries. It's worldwide. So therefore, we've had inquiries or people approach us, manufacturers, etc., from around the world. And they don't know that we're a small business, etc., and they want to send us pallets and container loads and price list of products, etc. So that gives you access to the whole world, if you will. Now, how you get to the whole world is a whole different story, and obviously you would need a lot more marketing spend behind it and things of that nature. The organic world came by coincidence, because we were catered towards more middle to high income people. We wanted premium brands, and in the baby food, all of mothers who care, and all mothers in general, would love to give the best for their children. So naturally, they would go to organic. Now, my pet peeve about organic is once I try to look and see scientific research about how organic is better for you, I could not find it. This was 3 years ago, so maybe it exists now, but on the net, it does not exist. People naturally assume when you say something is organic, it means it's better, and it's a natural assumption. That makes sense. But there is no scientific hardcore evidence behind it. And I understand why, because for manufacturers it would be very, very expensive to do something like that. But what is needed is on an industry-wide level, where all the manufacturers get together and do a combination of these studies. That is what would benefit the industry, in my opinion. You know, I'm gonna be staying up till midnight fulfilling these orders. You launch, you advertise, and no sales come in. And all of a sudden, you are the most depressed person on the face of the earth, saying, what did I do wrong? It comes. And these are the moments that when you get them, it will feel great. So be patient, give it a go. We've had months where I wanted to close down and say, forget about it, it's not worth it. And the next month, a simple opportunity pops up and makes me, what was I thinking? This is the best thing ever. Number two is you need to be passionate about what you do. You believe in it. It's not about selling. It's about a higher purpose. For me, I try to instill that this is your own child, and if he doesn't get his milk formula in the next half hour, God forbid, he will pass away. So it's an emergency. Each delivery has to be taken as if that comes with a passion that obviously a lot of mothers would have for their children. And the company has to install that in terms of every aspect, in terms of the delivery, in terms of when we're out of stock, where we can get it. I know places where certain products run out of stock. I will go to these hole-in-the-walls that I know about that don't sell to get that product and sell it at the same price, make no money, just to be able to fulfill that order for that woman. Because then she would appreciate it and come back and become a loyal person. There was an interesting story about somebody who called me up. She was in the hospital. I don't know why, what's the purpose, and she said, could you deliver? And I need it urgently. And I said, we'll have it there within 2 hours since you're in Dubai. And I got it to her, and she said she wanted to order more to make it more appropriate. And I said, no, that's not a problem. You want this, we'll get it to you. So that is the second most thing, is you have to treat it and be very passionate about it, and you will succeed. The third thing that I wanted was sorry. It was the third thing. Look at your failures as opportunities and learning experiences. For instance, I had a product and I had listed it at a wrong price, where I don't make as much profit as I'm supposed to make. Apparently, because of that, I got a huge order, and this was during the early days. It turned out to be a Chinese lady, and apparently it turned out the milk baby formulas, for reasons or another, are exported from Dubai to China because they don't, the Chinese don't trust their local products. There was an issue with the baby passing away from counterfeit formulas, etc. So that opened up a huge opportunity to me for 6 months once I found out about the Chinese re-export market for baby formulas. And I got to find out who supplies it and everything. It was due to a mistake in pricing. And so therefore, if I didn't have that mistake, and I didn't make that, I wouldn't have opened up the next 6 months for me. So don't look at these mistakes as failures. Look at them as learning opportunities, because you would be surprised how they pop up. That's about it.
Great, thank you so much for that.
You see, my store is my website. You know, so if I'm going to look at what's on the front shelf of my store, that's my website. So the most important product in my business is my website. So that's the one thing I have to constantly invest in. Being on the right platform matters. I mean, I have, this is one more thing I would need to add, that, you know, as an entrepreneur, you wear different hats all the time. And one of the biggest problems with internet, technology sometimes fails. So when technology fails, you have to do things manually. For example, there have been times when, you know, I've gotten orders come in and somehow the delivery hasn't happened, the delivery company can't pick it up, or, you know, something's gone wrong and I've had to go and deliver it myself. Like, get in the car, drive to the other side of Dubai and just deliver it, you know. Other times, you know, sometimes, you know, something's going wrong at checkout, a customer is having a problem at the checkout, and you have to try and solve that, and at the same time you're on the phone with the tech guy and being like, what's going on? So these are the negatives of technology, but I'm sure everyone's faced these things. But in the long run, the website, I mean, you have to be online. The world is online. If there's anything we've learned from 2020 is, if you're not online, get online. Because everything, in terms of marketing now, everything's on social media. How do I find out what's new in the market? I go to social media. What are the new beauty brands that are out there? What's happening in the clean beauty industry worldwide? Where do I go? Instagram. That's where all the information is. You know, so you have to be on social media, but at the same time, it's a very crowded space. So you need to also know, how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else? How do you stand out? And these are things where, you know, it's a constant figure out. Sometimes, you know, you've figured it out, you've got it right. Okay, my, you know, posts are going up, I'm getting the engagement, I'm getting the likes, algorithm comes in, Instagram changes something, and suddenly there's like, oh, followers are dropping, no engagement, no likes, you start freaking out, what's going on, and then you're tweaking yourself. So it's really about pivoting. You have to pivot, you have to have the tenacity to keep going and never give up, because e-commerce looks fabulous. Being an entrepreneur is like sparkles on the outside, but it is hard. It is really, really hard. I mean, like, I still remember when we first launched, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get a lot of sales, you know, we're live, we've done all this marketing online, and, you know, we're launched, we're live. 5 minutes, nothing. Yeah, okay, one sale. It's my mom. So, you know, so it takes time. It takes time to really build up. But you get there, eventually.
Thank you so much. That's amazing advice from all three entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for